My name is Brian Medeiros, and we've had this dairy, Medeiros and Son Dairy, since 2003, but we've been in the dairy business since 1994. So basically, since I was a kid, I've been involved with cows.
I'm Rui Medeiros. I'm owner this dairy with Brian. It's my son. He's its partnership with me, you know.
The way the management runs here, it's dad, mom, and then I. So it's definitely very family oriented. We don't really have any middle managers per se. So it all comes down from, we see what needs to be done in the day, and we kind of delegate it out to the employees. So in the morning we have a meeting, as the employees come in at 6 o'clock, we start telling them, okay, hey, today you're going to be working on this, today you're going to be working on that, and just make sure we can cover all the details for the day and make sure we get everything done.
Tell me a little bit about some of the challenges that your dairy has faced in the last couple of years.
Well, definitely, we've had what some have coined the Dairy Armageddon of 2009. It's definitely been, it's not like it was in the old days. We used to say dairying was a matter of milking your cows, and that was it. You just had to milk them and take care of them, they'd take care of you, and that was all you had to do. It's not so anymore. We've got, and like every other dairy farmer knows in the state and across the country, it takes a lot more fine-tuned evaluation of your business to make sure that things are running smoothly. The last 3 years have definitely shown us that we have to vertically integrate our business more so than what we were in the past. We're producing a lot more of our own forages now, and we're also running through the dairy with a fine-tooth comb. We used to say, or we used to be able to put, prior to 2009, we could leave 4 or 5 days and not really have many headaches. You knew things were going to run. Now it's like you leave a day or two and it's like, okay, where's that little hiccup? So it's definitely shown us that we need to be much more involved in the dairy and pay a lot more attention to what's going on. Granted, we've always been that kind of operator where we've always been here, but it's taking more, for me anyway, kind of taking a step back from the work side of it and looking more at the numbers and making sure that everything comes into line. And it's like I said, it's running like a business. I had someone a couple weeks ago tell me, you're not dairymen anymore. You're commodity processors, which is not necessarily, I kind of took offense to that because I'm like, no, I'm a dairyman. I have cows. I take care of my cows. I don't process commodities. I take care of animals. But you start looking at it, and it kind of is a little bit that way. You start taking your costs into account and seeing what you're working on, seeing what you're doing to make sure that at the end of the day it all comes out, it all pencils out. So I'll let him believe that we're commodity processors. I still like to think of myself as a dairyman, as a farmer, as a dairy farmer. But it's having that closer relationship with the business side of it and looking at it more from that standpoint, I think has been the biggest thing for the last few years. Is taking that time to look at it has been one of the biggest challenges.
Tell me a little bit about some of the investments you've made recently to address more of that business side of the dairy.
Well, we've everything is all about efficiency. Making that dollar stretch as far as it'll go, and then making things run as quickly as they can too. We've done quite a few little things, but I'd say probably the 3 biggest ones we've done, which is not anything out of the ordinary. I like to look at it as we do things that any dairy farmer can do in all reality. It's just a matter of applying yourself and doing it. The 3 have been, one, on the farm side, we put in GPS on all of our farm tractors. So now, not only are we able to, maximize the amount of space that we take our equipment through the field, every time it's going to get the right amount of space. So we end up with less guest rows. We end up with less, oops, got to go back and fix that, which has really helped. The one thing I've seen about it is we have one of our bigger fields. It used to take us about 3 days to disc to get across it, without GPS, just line of sight driving. We can get done in just under 2 days now. It's made things go a lot faster. Saves on diesel, saves on wear on the equipment, and the GPS also, we looked at it as an economical and environmental benefit, but it also comes out to a social benefit too, because now you have employees that don't have to sit there, tunnel vision, looking out into the horizon to make sure that they keep the tractor straight. So they can relax a lot more. They can, they're more at ease. So that's been, it kind of hit our 3, what I call our 3 pillars of sustainability: environmental, economical, and social. And it kind of hit all 3. So that was one that I was really happy about. The second thing we did was in the milk barn last year. We went through and redid the all of our takeoffs and basically all the automatic equipment for milking the cows. The equipment we had was about 20 years old, and we was just running into problems. We'd go through, program all the boards. 3 days later, they were all messed up again. So we went through and we redid all the equipment, and it again, kind of a double, kind of the three pillars. For the cows, it worked out a lot better because they were getting milked the same way every single time. It saved us about 45 minutes of milking time in the barn because now everything's back online, back smoothly running. And it was a lot easier on our employees because it allowed them to, they didn't have to be running back and forth, checking, make sure, okay, is this cow done, is this cow not done, and then manually taking equipment off if it didn't come off automatically. So it kind of hit the three pillars, but what we saw was a great benefit to the cows, the cow health, the cow comfort. We were starting to have a little bit of an issue with some mastitis, and cleared up a lot of those issues. And now we've got, the employees are, they're in there, they're working, they're still moving, they're still hustling, but they're, it's a lot more calm environment, I would say. So when we put the new takeoffs and the new equipment in the barn, went through and did a full retrain of all the employees, and that's, I think, definitely what has helped us. They're more attentive. We gave them more time in the milk barn by putting in equipment that worked better. And then we also, with the employee bonus program for the milkers that we started, it's allowed us to have them pay a lot more attention to what's going on. One thing we also, I'd say those are things that helped with the Somatic Cell Award. One thing that we've also done recently that we've seen a good reflection on our somatic cell count is gone in and put foamers for the post-dip in the milk barn. And that's really helped out. We saw about a 30,000 somatic cell count score decrease after putting those in. So that was definitely a good benefit. This is the claw. Again, it's a lot easier, a lot lighter for the guys to handle with and put it up on the cow. And then finally, the thing we did was the feed program. We went ahead and we put in easy feed into the dairy, and that has helped us out a lot. We always look at everything. What's the cost benefit to it? And now once I start looking, I'm like, I don't know if this one's going to pay off, but in the end, it definitely has. One, because we were able to implement a feeder bonus program. So not only are we saving on the feed because it's hitting it's making the loads as we had designed them to be made, but we're also, the employees, now they're paying attention. They have that little last quarter bucket. They're not just dumping it in the mixer. They're actually saying, okay, you know what? If I put this in there, it's going to mess up my bonus. So they're going back. We probably extended the feeding time. I'd say that probably costs about another 45 to an hour a day. But I mean, it is on par, on the mark every time. You go look at because we make multiple loads a day, of course, and we have multiple pins that receive the same rations. And you go look at one pin and the next, and it looks, the same. Which, for a cow, that's what you want to do. You want to if you could give them a smoothie, which is kind of what we do, give them the same smoothie every day, then you're good to go. Saves me on time because before we were using an old DOS program, so we had to go in there and every time we made new load sheets, just go in the computer, do it all by hand to then get it back out. Now we sit down at the computer, we want to make a change, it's just put in the numbers, enter, and you're done. What I do is, I open up the iPad, of course, and then I've got the program on here that then allows me to log into the computer. We'll do this, and what it does is it lets us look at the feed and make the changes while we're looking at the bunk. Beforehand, we come out in the morning to do the adjustments on the feed. You're writing down on a piece of paper and hoping that when I get back to the office, okay, I'll remember what was in the bunk and then what was on the paper and try to correlate it all. Now this way, I'll go ahead and log into the computer, and then the feed program is usually the one that's right up on top. And if not, you can control your computer like if you were sitting at the computer. So then what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll look. Okay, say I start off every morning on pin 6. I'll go to pin 6, select that pin. Okay, we need to make there's about 500 pounds extra feed in the feed bunk that we don't need. Okay, so we're gonna make about a 1% to a 1.5% adjustment. So now I go ahead and make that percent. Kind of glance back at how many pounds it actually changed, make sure that that's what I want to do, and then go on to the next pin. So instead of taking, it takes about 15 minutes to run the whole dairy, write everything down. It takes me 18 minutes and I'm already done. So that's been it's saved me a lot of time, as well as allows me, we talked earlier about the small numbers. it allows me to control that feed cost and how much feed we're actually using and not using by doing it every morning through the program and in conjunction with the program. So.
Tell me a little bit about, you explained a little bit about how you've already changed your management based on 2009 and this last year with a drought. Tell me how you think those things will continue to impact your business going forward in the future.
Well, that's the thing is, it's been amazing the amount of technology or the amount of advancements in technology that we've had over the last, just the last 10 years. And we went from brick Nokias to iPhones and iPads and all these other things that, you can do so much with now. I think what it's going to do is it's going to let us, the next few years, we're going to look at maybe implementing some more of those technologies that help you better manage the cows. I think, and in doing that, it's going to allow us maybe, I guess the way I look at it, it's going to allow us a little bit more time, because then you have that tool, that technology, doing some of the analytical work for you, and then just pushing back. Okay, look, these cows are they're low in milk, they're high in temperatures, different things like that. That as now you kind of have to go through manually take temps, or as you get the milk test back, you're always going through, figuring out which ones are low or which ones you need to look at, which cows you need to work with. So I think the last 2 years have showed us that we need to pay attention. I think the next few years we're gonna have to pay even more attention, because margins aren't getting any bigger. That's for sure. We're gonna have to pay more attention to make sure that we can manage that cost. And I think if we implement some of those new technologies that will allow us to manage that cost easier, probably be some of the things that we go forward with.
You've said before that little things are the big things. Why is that so important, that the little things have become the big things in the dairy industry?
Well, I think, in the past it used to be, okay, round numbers, we were good to go, no problem. Now you're looking at, the little things that keep getting by, the little things that keep costing, and at the end of the year they add up to a problem. So it's making sure you're on top of the little details, and not to mention, now it's not just putting feed in front of the cow. That's a big thing. It's putting the right feed in front of the cow. Which ingredients do we use? Do we go with this hay? Do we go with that hay? Do we blend in the silages together because maybe one's not good? It's looking at all the little different puzzle pieces. Is what at least what we've noticed to become a bigger player in managing your facility, so that way you can keep going in the future, is making sure you're looking at all the little pieces.
After our sit-down conversation, Brian took us on a tour of his dairy and showed us some of his other recent investments, some of which also relate to his focus on sustainability.
So one of the goals we had here at the dairy was to have a maternity facility for our cows to calve and make it as best as we can for them, make it the most comfortable and as dry as well. So in December of last year, we started building the barn you see behind me, and we finished about in March. And what we're able to do now is we can bring cows about 3 weeks prior to calving, bring them up to the facility, as well as put them in groups. So we've got all the heifers separated from all of the later lactation cows, and then we've also got them separated into whether they came 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, or 1 week, and are all calving now. So we're able to kind of segregate them out, put more attention on them, as well as our goal was to make sure we made the facility so that way one employee could take care of what needed to be done at any time. In case, we always have our employees about every half hour to 45 minutes are coming by, checking to see if there are any cows that are calving. If one guy comes, he can also help a cow calve, he can move cows, he can do whatever he needs to do. So that's kind of how we set up the facility, so that one person could do it all. It's been a great help to the dairy. We've seen the change in the fresh cows. Cows are cleaning up a lot better. They're coming in the milk a lot faster, a lot stronger. It has definitely been a great investment on our part to help out with our cow health and comfort. So what we were doing is we were getting out of the tractor every 5 to 10 passes to check to see if seed was, right at the end of the seed bin, to see if we still had seed in the planter. And we came up with the idea, why are we going to keep getting in and out? And we just took some cameras that you put on, backup camera for a vehicle, threw it inside the planter, and then put in that strip LED lights. It kind of fits right in with our sustainability on the social side, making it easier for the employees. So that's been a big help. Now we see right when the seed's right to the end, basically get out, fill it up, and we're ready to go. So it makes it a lot faster, a lot more convenient as well. So one thing that we like to do here at the dairy is we're always looking to recycle. The biggest thing we do is take all of our separator solids and use it for bedding. In the past, the way we would do it is we would spread them all out in a big area, let the sun dry them, pile them back up, and then use them for bedding in the summertime and wintertime. But we were always having an issue with getting as much bedding as we made back into the beds. When we'd go to reapply the bedding, we'd have a lot of loss in dust, and if it was a windy day, then half the load was gone in dust. So we said, okay, what are we going to do that's going to make it work better? And we came out with the idea of composting our manure, or drying it in a controlled manner is the way I like to look at it, and making bedding that was sanitized, essentially sanitized, pathogen free, bacteria free, and putting it back into the beds at a higher moisture. And that's where compost came in and fit right into it. So what we do now is we take all of our separator solids, we go ahead and line them up in rows like the one that you see behind me here, and we go ahead and turn that manure about 4 or 5 times. Usually we need to do a minimum of 5 turns in 15 days is what we look at doing, to make sure we have a good pathogen kill. And then we go ahead and turn it after that just to help dry it down, get it to our moisture. We like to put it in, as you can see that big pile behind me, we like to put it in the pile for the wintertime right at about 30% moisture, because then it continues to dry down. And when we go and get it out for the beds, it's right at about 20, which is perfect. For us, has been a perfect moisture to go ahead and reapply that manure, and we get everything that we made and spent all the diesel on gets back into the bed where it needs to be. So we've been blessed with a lot of opportunities, but also there's been some challenges here on the dairy. As you can see behind me, we've got the dairy, and then the field just what would be west of the dairy. We've left fallow for about 3 years now, in conjunction with working with the water board, and trying to develop a plan to expand the dairy out. I say we've been blessed with a lot because we're lucky to have been able to get a lot of soil to grow crops for the cows, but we have those challenges, especially here with the perch water table. We've got a hard pan right at about 30 feet, and then everything above that is this nice salty, just wonderful water that sits right at about 6 feet under our soil level. So if we dig down dig a 6-foot hole, we're hitting groundwater. So that's been one of the challenges. We've left the field fallow to try to get that, try to help push that water table down a little bit to be able to hopefully one day expand with heifer corrals, as well as a new water processing storage lagoons in that area as well. So hopefully we'll see. Hopefully this year, maybe being as that feed is a little bit shorter, we can plan in a little bit on there, but we'll see how that all works out.
Who do you look up to as a dairy manager? Either someone you've worked with before, or in the industry. I mean, who is it that you admire and would like to be like?
Well, personally, I look up to my dad. Because if it wasn't for him, we've had all this success because of him. Sometimes I guess I get to be the face of the dairy, but in all reality, it's all because of him. I going to school and learning the accounting, learning the kind of the business management stuff, learning the science and the why behind everything we do has been great. But I always look up to him because we've got the cows and we've got the dairy. We are what we are because of him. So personally, I look up to him and say, if I can be like him one day.
It's a partnership with me, He have some on this dairy too. Then it's the only son we have. Then later on, it's gonna be for him. Then I'm pretty happy. Then him with us.
What are your hopes and dreams for the dairy?
The dairy pretty much. It's good. The dairy it's good. California it's a little bit tough right now. We have a nice weather. We have a nice place to raise cows, to have cows. But we go through a lot of laws and a lot of things shoots about the dairy. Then I don't know later on what's gonna happen on the dairy on California. I hope this goes better than for him and the future kids.